Affix your signature. The document glided across the polished mahogany desk, stopping just short of my fingertips. He sneered. Her new companion, her perceived superior, stood beside her bespoke attire, cufflinks shaped like miniature firearms. Some cruel irony, I suppose. Behind them, the magistrate reclined, appearing bored, perhaps an old fellowship member. They assumed my stillness denoted apprehension. They had no grasp of the weight of true quietude, not yet. My wife Emily inclined her head, that same patronizing curve of her lip she used when I faltered for words. Post-deployment, consumed by night terrors and mental static. He's too terrified to even utter a sound, she whispered to John, her paramour. He gave a loud chuckle, deliberately meant to be overheard. The magistrate is a confidant of mine, he declared. You're departing this chamber destitute, soldier. I fixed my gaze on the document, then on my hand. It was steady. I recall the first instant I saw her message him. She claimed he was a client. I said nothing. I just watched her finger hesitate before she concealed the handset. The device stopped charging in our bedchamber. It began remaining in her satchel. She altered security codes, stopped inquiring about my nightmares, my medication, my therapy, my hush. I should have recognized the signs then. But affection doesn't just blind you. It cripples your instincts. She waited until I was stable. Until the veteran support payments were processed. Until I was employed again. Then she retained counsel. John's name was featured on the firm's stationery. The very man who had once shaken my hand and thanked me for my service was now vigorously shaking my life, loose like dirt from a boot. And she was permitting it. I commenced slowly. You never lead with fury. You lead with endurance. One evening, while she slept in the secondary bedroom, our new, unspoken arrangement, I duplicated her telephone's contents. It took 3 minutes. An old military reflex. What I discovered was not merely infidelity. It was strategy. Electronic mail between her and John, time-stamped gatherings preceding the divorce filing, drafted custodial blueprints, concealed asset conveyances, property acquired under trusts that traced back to him, and worse, derision. Laughing at my trauma, won't even contest this. PTSD must have corroded his backbone. I did not confront her. I rendered hard copies of everything. Then I began investigating the magistrate, social media, legal registries, a private investigator from the Army who owed me a favor. 6 hours later, I had connections. Deep ones. Golf societies, political endowments, clandestine payments, cleverly disguised as legal consultation. I did not issue threats. I assembled the evidence. The courtroom felt cool, antiseptic, a display of false courtesy. I permitted them to talk. Her legal representative, her lover John, argued loudly, with confidence, sharing jokes with the magistrate between motions. He referred to me as unstable in subtle phrases like, "He has experienced battle, Your Honor," suggesting that kind of pressure doesn't simply dissipate. She sat adjacent to him. Lipstick like fresh blood, no wedding band, and me? I waited until they requested my endorsement. When the document struck the desk, I drew a second folder from my coat, opened it, and presented it to the court clerk. The magistrate's face tautened. It contained correspondence between the judicial official and her boyfriend John, a timeline overlap of their association and the divorce preparation, financial inconsistencies in the magistrate's accounts, bank records, and private audio recordings. I had labeled it succinctly, conflict of interest, motion for judicial disqualification and criminal review. The magistrate's hands ceased movement. He cleared his throat, avoiding their gaze. For the first time that morning, no one spoke. I settled back, quiet. They attempted to recover. John objected, calling it fabricated, accusing me of harassment. The magistrate silently recused himself without debate. Court adjourned. The court officer directed them to leave first. Protocol for controlling embarrassment. I rose and walked behind them, close enough to hear. You imagine this is concluded? John muttered without turning. I leaned in just enough. No, it is merely your turn to suffer defeat. He spun around, anticipating rage. I offered him none. Her eyes searched my countenance for emotion, regret, pain. There was nothing left for her to find. I had drained all of it the night I uncovered who she truly was, and I had not looked backward since. The case was reassigned. 3 days later, a different magistrate froze the divorce proceedings. She telephoned once. I did not answer. John's legal firm placed him on temporary leave. 2 weeks later, the Bar Association initiated an ethics investigation. He is fighting for his license now. She is fighting for relevance. And me? I sleep not peacefully, that never returned, but with certainty. She intended to demolish me in silence, so I answered with a silence louder than combat. She attempted to wield the judicial system against me. I became the system. The concluding line in the new court dossier reads, "Plaintiff's evidence deemed credible and admissible. Defendant's counsel under investigation. Motion to proceed in favor of respondent."